Welcome to the Academic Woman Amplified podcast. I'm your host, Kathy Mazak, tenured full professor, mom of three, and firm believer that the culture of academia needs to change radically. Women are revolutionizing academia within institutions that were not built for us. If you're ready to reject the culture of overwork, kick guilt and overwhelm to the curb, and amplify your voice to make a real impact on your field without breaking down or burning out, you're in the right place. And it all starts with writing. Let's go. Last week, I talked about my journey from white-knuckle controlling my career to designing my career with intention. If you missed that episode, you might want to go back one and listen. You get a little sneak peek into my life in the 1990s as an undergrad student at Indiana. But this week, I want to tell you about why designing your career with intention is a radical idea and the role that writing must have in it. Okay, so first, what does it mean to design your career with intention? Let's start with what not to do. The culture of academia teaches us to operate from a place of fear. Making fear-based career decisions is absolutely a logical response to how we're socialized into the culture of academia. We're taught early on in our experience as graduate students that there's never enough money or time. I call these the twin scarcities of academic culture. Never enough money, never enough time. There's never enough money. As a graduate student, we are paid a small stipend and expected to work 24/7. Literally. I remember the below freezing Michigan winters when my then boyfriend, now husband, and I trudged across campus so that he could feed his cells in the lab. It didn't matter the time of day or the temperature. When the time came to feed the cells, he had to feed the cells. And then for myself as an English TA and PhD student, there was no time that was off limits for grading, reading, or class prep. And truthfully, we had it super easy. We had no kids, no parents that needed care, no mortgage, and no other jobs to work. We did our PhDs just only with the funding we got as research assistants and teaching assistants. But still, there's never enough money. We should always be pursuing external funding, right? That message that we get all the time. One of the great examples is that if your university is doing a writing workshop, it probably has to do with writing grants, not about writing articles. We might ask our universities, right, for like more admin help for lab technicians or graduate student researchers. And the answer is always there's not enough money for that. Go get your own money, right? Go get external funding. There's never enough time. For people whose job it is to think, the average professor does not feel like there is time in the day to have a thought. Between teaching prep, grading, student advising, committee meetings, the time we have for our own scholarship seems to get smaller and smaller every semester, even after we get tenure. And actually, especially after we get tenure, this complaint that I never have time for my own stuff is even more prevalent. When we live our careers from this place of scarcity, we make fear-based decisions. And again, it's logical that we do this. I'm not judging this in any way. I'm just calling it out. So here's what fear-based decisions look like. Saying yes to any project that you think might lead to publication, right? Saying yes to everything. Leaving writing projects that you're really not that excited about in your publication pipeline, right? Like instead of culling them away, this fear that you won't have enough publications makes you hold on to kind of half-done projects that really don't deserve to be done. Like projects that should be cut. They hang out there, sucking your energy and your mental space and a lot of times your time, even though they really should have been cut from your pipeline a long time ago. But we're afraid to make cuts because we're afraid we won't have enough, right? Enough publications. Fear-based decisions also look like overextending yourself in your teaching and committee work for fear that doing any less will diminish your chances of getting a promotion or getting a job. And the list goes on and on. Designing your career with intention, on the other hand, designing your career with intention. I chose each one of those words very specifically. Designing your career with intention is anti-scarcity. It's anti-fear. Last week, I talked about how I white-knuckle controlled my way to graduating from Indiana University Bloomington in 3 years. The good lesson that I learned from that experience was that if I set my intentions clearly, I can make strategic decisions that would realize the outcome that I wanted, right? Like that was the big takeaway from that experience, was that if I really had clear intentions, I could strategically get myself to the outcome that I wanted. And that's what designing your career with intention means. You set an intention and then you make strategic decisions that create your desired outcome. Instead of making decisions based on fear, you make decisions based on the intention you set. In the Navigate program, for example, we do this by writing an academic mission statement. Then we teach you 10 strategic systems to give you the skills you need to realize that intention, right? The Navigate program is the meeting together of the intention and the skills you need and the strategies you need to realize that intention or get that intended outcome. So in Navigate, there are 3 sets of systems that we teach: time management systems, writing systems, and pipeline and planning systems. You set your intention at the beginning of the course, and then you build the skills and strategies you need to realize your desired outcome or to realize that intention. All right, so that's what designing your career with intention means. The second thing I want to tell you about is why that's a radical idea. Okay, so why is designing your career with intention radical? Designing your career with intention is a radical idea because it recognizes the agency that you have. People socialized as women understanding and wielding their agency to create the careers they desire in academia. Now, that is a truly radical idea. Having the career that you want as a woman is a radical idea. Asking for and getting, in fact, demanding what you want for yourself is radical. It's radical for a woman to have a career she loves, filled with activities she loves. It is liberatory to have a career that fills you up, so that when you are designing your career, that activation of and use of your agency for your intentions, to realize your intentions, that is power. And women having that much power is definitely a radical idea. All right, the third thing that I want to talk to you about is how writing fits in to this idea of designing your career, this radical idea of designing your career. The fight to center your writing and scholarship is a microcosm of the fight for change, impact, and justice. Let me explain how. You need your writing to get publications, to earn tenure, to gain impact and influence, and to realize your career vision. No one else can do this for you. Only you can get the writing and publications done that will help all of those things happen, right? And your writing is no one else's priority but yours. You don't see the president of the university or your dean checking in with you and saying, have you gotten enough writing time this week? Do you have enough open blocks in your time so that you're sure to get some words on the page this week? That is not the check-in question that anybody in admin is asking, right? Your writing is important only to you and your career. Okay. It's also important to the people who your work is impacting, right? They don't know that yet. First, you got to write it. So that's why making sure that writing gets this prioritized place it deserves in your career is equivalent to making sure that you get this prioritized place that you deserve in your career. Let me say that again. Because nobody is going to do your writing for you, it is your priority. That's why making sure that writing gets the priority place it deserves in your career is equivalent to making sure that you get the priority place you deserve in your career. So let's connect back to that radical part again. The radical part here is a woman getting what she wants. Women getting what they want is a completely radical idea. We are so socialized, first of all, to kind of either want too much, right? Like there's that negative stereotype, or want nothing, to be selfless, right? To want only what others want. That's how women are socialized inside of academia, but also, in the larger society, Western, Northern society, which is the one that I know that I can talk about. The radical part, again, is this focus on you instead of a focus on everybody else but you, your department, your institution, your colleagues, your students. Now, let me be really clear. I'm not saying that you go and tell the world to screw themselves. I can confidently say, dear listener, that you intentionally designing your career around your writing will not lead to you selfishly running over everybody else's priorities and ignoring your students or flipping off your dean. Like, I'm 100% sure of that. No. You being intentional, designing your career and pursuing what you want is good for you, but it's also good for everyone else. Just as boundaries protect you and are a kindness to everyone else, you centering your writing in order to create the career that you want is good for you and everyone else. Now, this is true on many levels, but let me just articulate one of them. Happy, calm you is a better employee, a better colleague, and a better mentor than stressed out, overworked you. That's a fact. It's going to require a shift in the way you view your writing for this radical change to occur. I'm coming up on my 5th year as a writing and career coach. And here's what I've learned about writing in academia. It's important on its own, for its own sake, but it's also a powerful organizational tool. Most clients find me because they have a time to write problem, right? That's the complaint. Like, I can't make time to write. I need to make time to write. But once my clients realize that a focus on writing can solve both their career problems and their scheduling problems, they are true converts to my methods. The great irony of academic culture is that while publications are revered, writing time is not. Think about it. All this talk about publications, all this pressure to publish or perish, yet we constantly receive messages that writing time, which, by the way, writing time must occur for publications to come out. There's no way that you're getting around the writing time. You can't skip it, right? But that's pushed to the periphery of your career. I did a whole podcast episode, I think it's number 67, that's about how to tell whether writing is like on the periphery of your career or at the center. So you might want to go check that one out. But this is really ironic, right? That while publications are on the pedestal, writing time is not. You are so overworked that the only times to write are early in the morning before everyone else wakes up, or late at night after everyone goes to bed, or on the weekends. And that means that the meat of your workday is dedicated to everything else but writing. Yet, You will literally lose your job for those of you who are pre-tenure, or live forever at the middle of the pay scale for those of you who are post-tenure if you don't write. How did we get this way? It's like topsy-turvy. The process of truly once and for all solving your time to write problem is the process of intentionally designing your career. They're the same thing. If you can solve the process, the steps that you need to take to solve your time to write problem are the steps that you need to take to intentionally design your career. Those are the steps that we teach inside the Navigate program. Now, the way that we've been doing academia is just like not good enough anymore. This topsy-turvy thing of like, you must get publications, but time to write is marginalized. No, it's time for a radical change. It's time to put writing back where it belongs. Knock publications off the pedestal. If you're going to put something on a pedestal, put writing up there. When we intentionally design our career around our writing, we live up to the promise of being the scholars we always wanted to be. And that is radical in the culture where our voices keep being silenced. Now, if the things I've talked about in this episode inspire you, or if you were listening and you were like, yes, Kathy, get up on that soapbox, I hear it, then it might be time for you to join our Navigate program. And lucky for you, we're opening enrollment on the 27th of April. So I'm giving you some pre-indication of why you might want to join. We are nicknaming this cohort that's coming in late April, early May, the radical cohort, because we are really seeking radical change for you as an individual inside of academic culture, inside of your career, the inside radical change that you need that's going to lead to the outer radical change in the world and inside of academia that we want to see. Now, you might be thinking about doing a summer program, maybe a boot camp, maybe something else. I want you to know that Navigate, the subtitle of the program is Your Writing Roadmap. It's not a boot camp. We are not boot camping anything. I'm actually anti-boot camp as a metaphor because I think that, and I'm actually going to talk about this more in future podcast episodes, this idea of like, we have to suffer in order to be quote unquote productive, that's old news. We're looking for radical change. And radical change means you not suffering. It means you feeling calm and collected. It means you exercising that powerful agency over your career. And that's exactly what we teach you how to do in Navigate through our 10 systems that will absolutely change your career forever. So here's what I want you to do. If you're thinking about even maybe joining us for Navigate, I want you to mark your calendar because enrollment opens on April 27th and it's only open for 6 days. So we're going to get everybody in and we'll get started in the middle of May. But you definitely want to be the first one to get the email that says the doors are open. So you're going to want to go to the wait list. So we will give you the link in the show note where you can go and sign up for the Navigate wait list. It's not a promise that you're going to enroll. It's just you saying that you want to be the first one to get information. And I want to give you a little carrot, a little incentive for joining the wait list. Here's how we're going to do enrollment this time. We're going to open enrollment first to all our Momentum members, so they get first crack at enrollment, then to all the waitlist members, and then to the general public. And the reason that we're doing a tiered opening is that we have 10 spaces in our summer retreat that we are giving away to the first 10 people who enroll in Navigate's Radical Cohort. So if you're a member of Momentum, don't worry, you're going to get the very first crack at those 10 seats. And the next best thing, if you don't want to join Momentum, is to get on the Navigate waitlist so that you can be one of those 10 people to join us on our June retreat. Now, let me tell you a little bit about the June retreat to kind of whet your appetite and know what you're going to be missing if you don't get on the waitlist. The June retreat is a 2.5-day virtual retreat. It's only open to our Amplify and Elevate members. And we do a pretty amazing, I have to say, virtual retreat. It's not a 6-hour Zoom meeting. We definitely have, I have a signature talk that I give, but then also we do breakout rooms, we do peer review, we have a DJ who spins at the end to kind of send us off dancing, and people who have experienced this online writing retreat have said, I can't believe how much this writing retreat has inspired me to keep going. I think it is perfectly timed to make your summer writing absolutely amazing. So if you're ready to radically change yourself and radically change your career, we can't wait to open the doors to the Radical Cohort on April 27th. Go sign up for the waitlist so you can be the first ones to know. And come and join us. It is a career-altering program that is delivered in a way that is not at all like a boot camp. It is absolutely like a radical community of academic women who really want to go out and not only change the world, but radically change themselves. Thank you so much for spending your valuable time loving on yourself and your writing by listening to this episode. If you're feeling pulled in 1,000 directions and can't seem to carve out time to write, I've got a solution for you. Go grab my 10 ways to make time to write cheat sheet. Just go to kathymazak.com/podcast-time to learn my best quick tips for putting writing at the center of your career where it belongs. We'll link that up in the show notes. Just go to kathymazak.com/podcast-time.